loud and clear.
I gotcha. Thanks.
I didn't notice those were AI pics at first, and it creeped me out for a minute. That was pretty funny.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like that.
Just give me a second. I've got to just put the stream in place. Oh, how come it's not? How come we're not live on YouTube?
I show live up in the corner. It says live.
Yeah. Okay, there we are. I just need to grab the stream.
What is the channel? What channel are we going to here?
Well, I'm just gonna stream because my YouTube channel has nobody on it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna stream straight from my website. So I'm just linking the thing into my website, and then we'll go there. And supposedly I should be on X as well, but if not, it's okay.
Okay.
Let me take me a couple secs. You guys have a good week?
Yeah.
Busy week, but good.
Yeah, staying busy. How about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, to be honest, a lot of this takes up a lot of minutia time trying to do all this stuff, and yeah, and I'm new at it, and a lot of it's been done via AI, so you have to do a lot of programming with the AI, otherwise, they don't understand you that well, and you find which one understands you better. And
I hear that. What do you use primarily?
Well, I actually use three sites currently, and I use Grok for like up-to-date information, and then I use ChatGPT like for stuff that sometimes I want a drawing. It seems to understand me better. And Grok I can deep dive, and then I'm using Manus to do coding.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only used ChatGPT really just for like talking things out and stuff, and I actually really do like it. But that's all I've really used.
I used Grok a little bit for different random questions, and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the great thing about AI is it's opened up a world of opportunity. Like basically, if you can ask a question, you can make something work.
Mm-hmm.
And that's oh shoot, I still don't have it. But you heard the music change, right?
Yeah.
I don't understand why you're not coming up on me. My apologies for what's going on. Yeah, we're all showing here on YouTube. Everything's showing on StreamYard. For some reason, I just needed everything showing on StreamYard. There we go.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we're good now.
All right. So it's playing on my site. You can see we're going there. We should have a repeat a couple times. No big deal. Wonderful. Okay. Yeah, no, so I like the AI and is, so like as people have gotten older, they sort of we haven't been able to utilize old age people very much in a lot of ways. And also designers and artists usually have to go to engineers to get stuff done or understood. So my business partners have always been more engineers actually, and or that type of brain that's into all that type of data minutia. And I sort of have honed my instinct, and I'm able to use like a broad approach on stuff. And that's kind of what artists are. We sort of have a vision for something, and there's really not language or words to describe where we're headed yet. And that's sort of where crypto is it doesn't really have the language or direction to really, hey, where are we actually going to use this? And AI is allowing designers to now be able to do coding. So you're going to see an improvement in design structure, websites, all that, because you're no longer trying to relay this idea to somebody. You can actually have somebody more patient or less frustrated about, well, if I change that, this is going to screw that up, that's going to do that. Because I've found that now by using code, that's a continuous thing with me. And the more complex my website becomes, you think just putting a mute button on something would be so simple, and honestly, that could take me 3 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you.
But there's no way on earth I would have spent the time to learn that, at, I don't know, even 40, 50, or 60. So these types of jobs that we have today are going to erode, but the type of work and self-employment visions and 3D printing allowing this to happen is just going to explode. So even though the economies are going to look shitty as far as on the global scale, on the art side of things, we're just going to flourish. Like live music's going to become huge again, because I'm already tired of the AI music.
It's very bad. It's very
well.
Yeah. It's not so much that it's bad. It's just like replaceable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not original. I mean,
It's like early pop music. You want to hear it 20 times and then you don't want to hear it ever again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, caught your attention and he's like, wow, that's great. It's like, damn, get this out of my head. This is a disease.
Let me ask you that real quick. Let me ask you you guys' opinion on this, on the AI thing. And then if you want to get into the actual topics, you let me know. But do you think like there's all this doom and gloom about it? And I'm sure it's engagement farming, but people on Twitter that are just like, oh, hey, if you're working a white collar job, the clock is ticking. Like you've got a couple years or whatever. I think that's the majority opinion. So naturally, I think that'll end up being wrong. And I think it's going to be more so now for very, very low base level jobs, maybe. But I think it's going to be more so how can you integrate this well, and who will be the best at integrating AI into your occupation and working with it to make it better. I think that might be more what happens. I don't know if you have takes on that.
Well, I think for me to summarize this up the best is I can't really answer that question, but I can actually redirect it. So in the past, the most intelligent person has changed, but as long as I've known society, the person with the best memory has been sort of honored the most, like for academics. But if you look at the childlike brain, it's actually the one that learns the most, because it doesn't have past, future, maybe wrong thoughts or patterns and implementing biasism or whatever it might be. So as a society, we know that having a clear mind and being able to create gaps so we don't have a reel going all the time in our head actually makes us more intuitive, instinctual. And this type of intelligence hasn't really had a gauge before. And this curious mind and being able to have a round up curious questions and ask AI questions. So now the person that has the best memory, you're not going to rely on them for the facts anymore, because, sometimes even how they're going to express it is going to be skewing your opinion on something. We've watched documentaries, and as unbiased as they are, you don't always come out of there from a neutral standpoint. They've leaned you in some direction. And with AI, this is going to allow us to be more analytical. Now, I'm not saying everybody's going to use it like that. The car came in and all the horses disappeared. And yeah, cars were more dangerous than horses, but nobody's complaining today.
Right.
So the area of when we had the printing press and we're able to communicate, like if you look from the 1880s to the 1930s, there's such a vast amount of development mentally. We redefined God. Many stepped away from biblical teachings to be the absolute, from all societies, not just the Christian society. This happened, scholars throughout everywhere, but Europe was a big movement for this. And we're evolving into that exact same phase again. And yeah, so it's a chance to, I don't, like I said, I don't have an answer for any of the thing because we're at such an exploratory stage and we really don't have language to even describe the type of evolution we're going to have.
I think for a lot of jobs, it's going to definitely improve our efficiency and how well we can get things done on top of the, time constraints that we already have. It's just going to make that efficiency process so much better, with report, like, a lot of people rely on reporting and KPIs and different things of that nature. It's going to make the time consuming part of that go away and allow you to focus more on your, on what your job actually is. So I just think the efficiency process is going to greatly increase. Now, will that entail more workload? Very possibly, because the more efficient you come, they start giving you more and more to do. So, it's a double-edged sword, right? You get better and more efficient at your job, and then they're like, well, you got plenty of time to kill now. Let's give you this to do too. So yeah, I know that's how it works as well.
Yeah, I used to have a manufacturing company, and we were at the area of so we did a lot of this is going back all the way into the 90s, so I'm sure things have changed, but already then Europe and other manufacturers were looking at moving down to 6.5-hour work days. There were so many discoveries we had that we found that the people work better with more free time. So I think we're going to start getting back to actually learning to be bored again and creative again, because the overstimulation is reaching a point of exhaustion pretty soon.
Yeah.
So that spending more time, and COVID really implemented, because that sort of expedited like all the home electronic type of ways of doing life. And I know where I'm around, the parks and the areas have definitely, outdoor spaces have more than doubled in volume since COVID. And I'm not sure if that's elsewhere. I live in a community that's quite outgoing, so it could be regional biasism. Yeah, so I look at what we're sitting at is the opportunity to have so much more free time. Like I said, in manufacturing, we found that 6.5 hours, we've got more productivity. If we ran overtime more than 30 minutes, we were actually wasting money terribly. Like the productivity after 30 was horrible, but the first 30 was excellent. So there's so many things that you take in scale of stuff, and people realize, geez, if I put people, I actually can get more work out of them in 6.5 hours than in 8, because you just have this lull and people understand how the brain works and exhaustion, and it's just going on and on.
That's what it is. I don't think most people, if it's something that you don't really, really, really want to be doing, which, let's face it, I mean, if you have a day job, you don't really, really, really want to be doing it. If you have to work an 8-hour shift, you probably are going full bore, working pretty hard. I would say no more than 6.5 hours, probably. I mean, because you have to almost. There gets to a point where like that last hour of the day, or just wherever you can fit it in, you're like, I gotta get away from this for a little bit. You know what I mean? or if you're just chilling out, not working too hard at a certain point. I mean, I think you're probably working 6.5 hours, really. You know what I mean?
Well, that's exactly what those studies did. Manufacturing was beating us up, and they were already down to 30-some-hour work weeks and 6 or 8 week holidays, and manufacturing output per man hours was hot, So, and Japan, similar structures, but with automation and robotics, I look at, we've wiped out a lot of sort of unions that had a stranglehold on a lot of manufacturing. So we're going to be in the US, we've definitely geared up to be in for heyday coming up for sure, like manufacturing. And even if it looks like we're having issues with Europe, you could also look that we have Central America, Mexico, all of that volume of population to actually grow as well. You know, like they're still in way behind Europe, and that type of growth from that area is just waiting to get some stabilization of government or whatever. I don't want to get political, but as far as an economic standpoint, North America and South America are looking quite sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, over the next 50 years, you know. So when people are talking about economic collapse, yeah, we might have doldrums or slowdown, but honestly, like, you know, US dollar and all this, I don't think is going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
And, you know, to bring a roundabout, this is where crypto has missed sort of the boat so far. You know, we keep going down buy and burns and getting more tech deep into what a crypto coin can do, but sound businesses around them haven't really, you know, jumped up to say, hey, I want to own this business. And part of my thing is reason I've done what I've done with Huda and stuff is I think you guys, the creators of content, are the most valuable asset to make crypto go the next level. So as much as AI has got its momentum, it's all back to the creators to actually drive it. And by us playing around, we're the creators and experimenting with it. So I look at Huda as a media opportunity where we have a way to fund ourselves through a tax token. If people create their own token, we attach it to the sort of the Huda ecosystem. These streamers like yourself, all of a sudden, there is an economic engine to actually buy your own token. And by you guys pairing it to USD, it allows you to get paid immediately upon graduation. And a token on Pump.Tires is to get 80% and graduate is only like maybe $4,000 right now. You know, in March it was 12. And yet in March I said, create our own tokens, went on a little cross tour and I said, start your tokens. You'll outperform Most and Fire Whale and all these tokens. And you look at anybody that's tried something, whether it's Crypto Coffee and Top Hat and those guys from, I mean, even P Tiger, and there's, I think Skada and Pew Pew are all Pump.Tires. You know, I haven't looked into all of them, what they do, but all of them have outperformed PulseChain and outperformed these stupid meme tokens that people are chasing, hoping some whale is going to want to buy it up and make it popular. And we're all playing a popularity contest. And again, you guys are the, you know, streamers are the backbone of this community, and no wonder they make, I don't want to lose anymore. Like, we've lost a lot, and
right,
like, how do I generate income to pay you guys? I don't have enough to buy enough super chats to keep you guys from doing your day jobs. But like a show like yours should be something where that earns you a living. And so I think that's why I created Huda and my dog token. And those two tokens are bonded together. And so people don't need to buy Huda to make the tax work. And this allows and I don't need to sell Dob to generate money because of how Huda is designed. So these are the ideas. And I know with the idea I've got going, this will actually implement new ideas and new people to come up with, just like Richard's staking mechanism got copied to the nth degree, and Tightnex did their buy and burn technique, which everybody loved till it got manipulated to a certain way. And to me, crypto is about transparency, and the way I've designed this is to be completely transparent, and that's part of the attraction to it is, hey, how do we do this? And the number one reason everything fails is because publicly traded assets at this price is so easy to have some not nice human being manipulating the situation.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't want a large audience yet of any sort. I'm more interested in, hey, just like I went to everybody else, let's create tokens, bond it together, create a community. I'll show you how we all make money. And we have strength in numbers. And hopefully there's enough money generated that we don't need to do day jobs. And bad times don't mean anything. Volume is everything.
Yeah.
Looking at this kind of top down, and you did kind of just describe it right there, but like basically the thesis starts with, and I think you are right, not to like toot our horn, but just anybody that is streaming in a crypto product that they believe in that's legitimate, like, yeah, if you don't have us or Crypto Coffee or, you know, name your PulseChain channel, how do you know how any of this stuff works? Now, we don't necessarily put out like, you know, all these well done edited tutorials like a Crypto Coffee does, and he's like the man when it comes to that. But if you don't have that, how do you know how any of this stuff works? You know what I mean? It's not out there. And again, shouting out Crypto Coffee, I mean, he's made a whole PulseChain, I forget what the course is called, but like basically how to get into PulseChain and PulseChain money course and stuff like that. But yeah, you have to kind of have people doing what we do and streamers to know how to even operate any of this stuff. And then to your point, you're right. When it comes to YouTube, that's just kind of the agreed upon medium that we all are involved with. And yeah, they take what? It's at least a 30% rake if you would do a super chat or want to contribute to somebody in either way. So 30 to 50%. I mean, it is significant. So that's kind of where your idea for this came from, which I think is awesome. And I wonder if you could speak even more to like dumb this down for like Huda for dummies, basically. So how would we or anyone that's involved with this benefit as well as viewers? And what is the difference between the Huda token and it's Dob, right? Yeah, for Duke of Booze. So how do they differentiate and how would this all work?
So the Dob token is launched on pump.tires, and that means there's locked liquidity, and it's a sort of a safe token. I can't rug it. I can't do anything to that token. And the way it's designed, there's not much investigation. So I want other people to create their own token as well, because I don't need to check all the auditing and understand all the back doors. And I understand how this works, and this benefits PulseChain. So to me, the number one goal right now to actually make, I don't care so much about crypto. Like, even if we created a platform where we're actually generating money for content creators, musicians, artists of all sort, and streamers, we're going to have PulseChain is going to grow regardless. And I think that's the key. It's not Hex, it's not Inc, it's not PLSX, it's PulseChain that actually matters the most at this point in time, in my eyes. Like, it's just my opinion. And so by creating a token like Dob, you've created something that's sort of accepted by the community. The goal is it's burning Pulse, and it's locking up more Pulse into a liquidity pool the more pricier Dob gets. Now, that's all fine, and that can be easily manipulated by somebody now. I mean, I jumped, I don't know, maybe 12 grand US into getting that to graduate. It's worth maybe 5 grand US to do the same thing, or 45, or maybe 5. But you get the point. It's down considerably, but versus Pulse, it's not down as much. So bonus for my little piggy bank, if you just look at it as a piggy bank. So this token can be used for multiple things. You can pair it with whatever you want, and this allows you to trade. So what I did early on with Dob is I paired it with certain tokens to see how well it would move up just by my liquidity bonding, and then removing it. So instead of trading it, I actually allowed the liquidity bonding through the V2, allow the token to carry up and to the right. Now, Huda is a tax token, and it's fully controlled. And the revenue for that tax token is not about price go up, it's actually about trading. So basically, by Dob and Huda becoming the main pairing for the two, anything that Dob buys or sells, this is going to create bots. And this is where we're using arbitrage bots to actually move the Huda price and create trade volume. Also, if people were to buy a Huda token, we are going to do airdrops, and there's a lot to learn about the Huda down the road as to how we'll reward or have some sort of something for Huda token holders. So while the liquidity is low, I would say it would be smart to at least buy one Huda token and hold it. And really, for a PulseChain community, if you could just get enough people to buy one token worth $1 each, it's not much of a donation platform. And you can see through the architect system that how I plan on using the revenue has, I think, a positive impact on the community and crypto in general. So hopefully that will inspire people to say, hey, I at least want to own one Huda, and we'll get further down into that later on. And if they want to get the idea to go, Dob is the idea or the vision. And that's really means that it guarantees if you like the vision or the idea, and part of the revenue from the tax from Huda is there to buy Dob up. And this is like the buy and burn you would have saw in Titan X, but now you have an architect that says Dob on it, and that's money set aside to actually go and buy Dob up, at discretion. Now, all of this can be programmed through code over time. We've designed it in such a way, but at this point, we think the first few years it's best to run manually. And the token needs to be bought and sold to actually prevent bad actors. So the idea is to not look at any of this to be an overnight success, but because of low liquidity and all that at the beginning, things will happen. That's how the nature of the beast. So we also ask early participants. So let's say one of the tokens 5x right away. We would ask the people that actually did the 5x, pair some with USDC, and actually slowly exit through V2 a little bit already. Don't wait for a 10, because it's better that if some of these people start unloading as soon as they've already made, and by providing liquidity, they actually provide stability, and they slowly exit instead of going out with one price. So by having a small enough community, you're creating a business structure with everybody. So I look at it as a token. I don't want everybody to own it at the beginning, because that means I'm sharing that much of the business. Does that help a little bit of the vagueness of what I'm trying to do without going into the detail of what's going on?
Yeah, it does. My question from that, though, is how do you stop people from gaming the system? Because you said it yourself earlier, there's always going to be bad actors out there that try to manipulate, take advantage of. How do you do that? How do you accomplish stopping them from doing that?
So the key is the main liquidity pool that people would be accessing with Dob is Pulse Dob, and there's not that much Dob in there because we've bought most of it up as a group, and people like yourselves that I talk to have invested and bought up Dob to some level that I think there's about 85% in the hands of decent people, we'll say. Now, we fair launched it, so there were snipers at the beginning. We tried to trade them out to see how well, and the reason we did launch it on a fair launch instead of buying it all out to graduate to PulseX right away was just to see how we could deal with the situation. We didn't do it with other tokens, but in this situation, we thought, hey, let's try to do this because not everybody has all that money and they might have a great idea. So if they still launch their idea on pump.tires, they let us know. It might be something us early people can get in. So if there's a show that that's pretty popular and can get viewing, having a token attached to them would be beneficial. Now, with the Huda token, we really don't have, we created 1 billion tokens just like on pump.tires for Dob, but the difference is we own 999 million of it. And that means there's only like 15,000 up for sale. So if somebody acts really dumb, we have so much of that supply. And the reason we don't want to get rid of that supply too much is because it generates revenue. And there's ways of and this allows us to sell it down, move, pull liquidity, all that to actually deal with the situation on some level. I'm not saying that, a bad actor can look like a good actor for a year and then act like a bad actor,
Yeah.
But this is the part that I'm hoping that shows like yours and others, we get a decent foundation going. We converse on how to manage the situation and we talk instead of competing. And right now, everybody's competing. You're competing with Crypto Coffee because I go watch your channel on YouTube. Then I go watch his on YouTube. I leave yours to go to his. So I created a site that says, hey, let's watch everybody's all at one page for now.
Yeah.
And
so
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, so when I'm listening to like somebody that wants to be involved in it and stuff like that. And the amount of risk, is basically, you can be involved in doing this and contributing for, like you said, just holding one Huda token, basically, which
that's right. That's
right
all
now,
you need to play. That's all I'm asking right now. And then I'll get into more details of what's going on. So less jerks try to game it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which right now is what, $1, you said?
$1.20. We've been trying to keep it under $1.50 or $2 for some time. Yeah, like we do our best at this point. The liquidity's low. That also prevents somebody to act poorly because that means there's so much slippage.
Right.
And this is key. This is also to prevent even somebody like yourselves to say, hey, I'm going to go and buy this much worth. That's why Dob is there to actually do that. But Huda you're going to get robbed blind if you do that.
Right.
We're not prepared to sell too much Huda at this point in time. But later on, when we set up an architect and they have 34 million Huda set aside and we're doing $100,000 or $200,000 in trading volume per day, which I think is realistic. These numbers are going to matter as much as they don't now.
Yeah.
Ewok, I know you mentioned like you had some questions about like how one token works versus the other. If there's any extra details you want to know?
Well, no, it was more my fear of tax tokens, basically. Just with history and seeing tax tokens out there, they always kind of get off to a crazy start and then they just fizzle. And that's historically been the life.
I hate tax tokens.
Yeah,
I don't even want to buy something because that's why I don't want you to have to buy Huda. You buy Dob, it does the job. And then if you guys create a crypto token, it's bonded with Huda as well. We work out some sort of arrangement. And then time somebody says, you guys, hey, buy Create a Crypto, you're sponsoring my show. In the meantime, you've paired it with USDC and it's actually creating you some money on the backside. And in the return, it's spinning dollars for Huda to create revenue. And then we could also bond because if it's a pump.tires thing, we can also bond it with Dob. So now you got a 3-way bonding system, and this is creating volume. So every time you guys do a show, go, hey, skip the super chats and go spend the same amount of money on Create a Crypto token, or buy Huda, or buy Dob. Pick one of the ones that are
cool.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a way to get you guys revenue right away. So many people put in so much time and effort and get nothing from YouTube. Then they change how they're actually going to pay. I know other people that's happened to as before, where their actually income, because of the restructuring, went down as much as 50% in some cases. You're at their mercy. Whereas in this case, what mercy are you at?
Yeah.
You guys stream weekly if you generate enough, and if it's fun, and if you're helping by, and you actually get to keep the token, and now later on you're buying Creative Crypto shirts or Dob shirts for a discount because you're using that token as a coupon versus just being, that tax token can have so much value and you don't even need to sell it.
There's an idea too, is you create some merchandise and make it so that they could only buy in that token, which would create the buy automatically through the website. Obviously, you would have to kind of set it up as a automated process, but you buy the token and then they use the token to buy the merchandise.
So the stage, the idea is to get enough money to generate a live show on the stage. Okay. So that would now be the same idea. You want to watch that performance, it'll actually cost you a Huda to get in. And Huda might be worth double the money at that point in time. So all of a sudden buying it today makes it worth more. So that's why Huda has a reason. And let's say something happened in the community, we could actually use Huda as raising money. And I find, I don't know if you're familiar, with Christina Hype, that this girl works relentlessly on posting on X, and she's always reposting people's stuff. And she's not the only one. Yala Coder, there's a handful of these people that are just relentless. And I think they need to be rewarded somehow. So I would like to have an event where, hey, I'm doing a bingo night and playing music from the community. Let's all, and throw in $1 a Huda or something and donate it to these people for their hard work in the community. I think we could have fun community entertainment weeklies. We got so much talent in the community. So I'm looking at this as being a club site, hangout. I got games. I'm going to keep growing it. I don't want it to be a gambling site. That seems to be porn and gambling is kind of what made internet popular. And that's what crypto is trying to lean at. But ultimately, it's the businesses that made internet great, and email made us pass it on to everybody. And I find this crosses boundaries to allow people to not be in crypto and actually be more curious because they're looking at what we're producing.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, we already know how this community stacks up against the rest in crypto. So I think having an infrastructure like this built out for the people that are, still here, which looks like, if anybody had any plans of okay, well, hey, Q4 2025, and I'm out of here. I mean, once you get into crypto, it's kind of like Hotel California, and you're never leaving. So I think
I don't want to leave. I
yeah,
like it.
exactly. Yeah. But especially people in this community and that love the ethos of the things that Richard preaches and stuff like that. I mean, I think people are realizing that this is a long-term game. Mm-hmm. And longer than it even used to be, quite clearly, So I think something like this being built out for our community is good because it's not going to be going anywhere. I think that's becoming more and more evident as time goes on,
Absolutely. We might be smaller, but yeah, we still have the most intelligent community. So we actually have the ability to actually take something like this idea and grow loads of ideas, not just attaching this. I've made the token actually do a job, and that's what I mean. That's the goal here: is how do we make it do a job, and generate income or generate what we're after.
So, what all other influencers have you reached out to? I know you talked to What the Hex guys. Who else is in the initial kind of game plan?
So I've spoken to a handful of people. I've gotten quite a good feedback from others, but at this stage of the game, I'm looking at starting today as everything is fresh. Next week, I'm meeting DJ Cryptomatic.
Mhm.
Crypto Coffee says he's interested in doing a stream with me. So he's got quite a large account. I don't know if I want to do that in week 3 already or where, like, you get what I mean? I'm a little of this is I don't want to have too much success at the beginning because I think it's a good idea and I want to it's sort of like I want it to be so family friends have first opportunity, where the 10 or 20 bucks makes a difference for somebody to get involved.
So more organic from the beginning, and a little bit slower.
Definitely. Like that's why the limited posts on X, the limited what I'm actually doing. And if you're curious and haven't got me muted, you're going to check me out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Who's got you muted? Who's got you muted? Come on.
You can't know. That's the thing with muting. You wouldn't know.
True.
It's actually better than blocking people.
I've been around since 2020 and it's not at all like 2020 or 21. If I posted something, and I have all the large accounts follow me as well. And so they've never repost anymore or anything like that. And it used to be common. If I reposted theirs, they reposted mine. It grew my audience. Now I'm just posting to my audience and they're not even reposting the reposters. So,
right.
It's because it's become exhausting. So we need some sort of a team effort where we actually create something. And this is a way of doing capitalism right, where we're actually cooperatively running capitalism. And the blockchain is keeping us transparent and honest. You could check all the wallets that hold, Dob and Huda and see how much is in liquidity and what it's doing. There's nothing being hidden or running through or what some of these holders were involved in. And I like that.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah. I think it could be very beneficial. And I like the idea of starting out small. I just saw Crispy Man, I think, is streaming right now. I just saw Hexfire has a little Valentine's Day stream going on. So I guess because I think you've done a good job of breaking it all down. And obviously, we already talked about this a couple of weeks ago here. But what do you, if you have any other direction you want to go with it, please let us know. But I guess my question to you, and this is something we've talked about ad nauseum on our show, but just what is to get to crypto, overall performance over the next few years, PulseChain's performance? We're in a really weird, unique place right now. And you kind of just described it, Duke, with like the, 2020, 2021, people were retweeting stuff all the time. Now it's like ghost town. I think we're in a very, very unique spot where if you've been in crypto for 4+ years, this is probably the most, or I guess I should say least attention it's had in that entire time frame, I think, right now. And I think the reason for that, first off, we know that like retail never showed up this cycle for anything, and when it very much so did last time. But also the people that have been here are just totally disinterested. Like, I mean, there's just there's complete apathy right now. It's just, like I said, a ghost town. I had a better way of saying that. I forget what I was going to say, but it's just, So I guess, what do you make of that? And when it turns around, because Ewok and I have been saying, I hate to keep harping on this same point, but basically just that until people have money to spend on more speculative assets, which, crypto still, for better or worse, is considered that outside of Bitcoin. I just don't know how much of a turnaround we're going to get. And we're starting to see all these different levers be pulled where, maybe soon that will start to happen. But yeah, what's your impression of this? Because it just has not seemed like, I haven't seen this level of disinterest even in 2022. Like, I mean, things were horrible with FTX and all that then, but people were like talking about it. Now it's like not even being talked about, which you could look at as a bullish sign if you were buying right now, really. But I don't know. What do you make of all that?
So I'll compare it with something I know because I was involved in .com when it boomed.
Right.
And the early big boom before 2001 was still retail wasn't involved, similar to where we were at. And if you look at the NASDAQ, other than a few coins or a few .coms that had worth, and even though Amazon kept losing money after the 4 or 5 year down cycle, it continuously went up. I think I bought it at around $1 or $2. It went to $100 and then down to 20, and then hang around there and barely moved. I think for like a lot of them barely moved. But if you look at the NASDAQ, it took like 10 or 15 years to reach the 5,000 high of that era. So I think you could be looking at crypto in the exact same boat, because the exhaustion of everybody can do a meme coin now, that doesn't make it have any value. And people are looking at Hex as being a meme, PLSX being a meme. Yeah, they have a buy and burn, but we have already seen buy and burns don't make price go up either. And I'm an entrepreneur first and foremost, and / artist, whatever you want to call it. And this is where the entrepreneur brains come in. And it's like, okay, if you open a restaurant, people are still eating, and this is why, hey, people are consuming media. It's a thing we can't get enough of. We're looking for good stuff, and we're looking for people that aren't shilling some coin on the backside making money. And here with Huda and Dob, put it all up front right off the get-go. And the idea is not for any of us to sell our tokens, but pair it with liquidity or using the USDC that's earned from the Huda token to be revenue to pay and live off of and fund things. So this is an honest type of approach. I think more people will be doing stuff like this, and you start seeing more and more people coming up with business ideas already. I'm listening to it, and that's where the memes need to go. And we've now entered where the entrepreneur can do it, because now I can code, I can create a token, I can create a website, I create video, I can create music, and all one person now. And all this 1 year ago, I would have had to pay. I mean, I look at the hours I put in with AI on the website. That website, I built a website in 1994 or something. I think it cost me $26,000. And I looked at the dollar amount. This would have roughly the same money if you looked at the money and time based on $250 an hour or $200 an hour. So we all have this opportunity, and the skill that I learned as a via like in the old days, I learned AutoCAD and Corel Draw and different programs. Well, I forgot them and I don't use them anymore, out of date, but my communication with AI never deteriorates. So I don't have to keep up anymore.
Right.
So this is another, that's why I don't know if you could feel, like I'm an old man. I'm so fucking excited. I'm just so excited. I thought the internet and communication was grand when it, in the 90s, and I invested heavy in lots of companies and did well, but sadly I couldn't survive the bear market. I needed money, but you know what? Those investments got me through, and I got to continue to enjoy my life. So that's why I'm not hung up as to, oh, I need this to perform. I need to do this. Hey, if it's got 2 or 3 months worth of mortgage or rent covered in my investment, I'm happy to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's a really, really exciting time, even though it doesn't seem like it right now. That's what, to the point I was making a minute ago. I mean, people just generally do not have money. So whenever those policies start to come in to create that, we who are here now, even though it's depressing a lot of the times, you see the infrastructure being built. Like, you see all of these things happening, and it's just a matter of people having resources to get involved in it again. And basically everybody is unable to spend, too afraid right now, as they really should be. I mean, understandably, people don't want to buy homes in the US anymore because you can't. Yeah. So until they start having access to things like that again, that's, I think, when we see, because we have this kind of greedy idea of like, well, we hold all these things that we know to be awesome and stuff, but why does nobody else know that they're awesome? And it's, you could say marketing a little bit on one hand, and there is marketing out there, but again, when people don't have the resources to buy said thing, how much can the marketing work? And whenever you actually have the marketing there where the tailwinds are behind you, then it can really fire off. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Absolutely. And we are going to explode right away. Like it's just a matter of time. And I'm not saying crypto's going to explode, but yeah, we are changing rapidly, becoming a global place. You see China's built cities that are like city states. I think you're going to see city state type of life more than whether we officially are that. I think you'll see regions become, different than other regions more so, I guess, as a different tax structures. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Fortunately, the United States is set up so much like independent nations. It has a lot of advantages over the rest of the world, considering the amount of people that sort of get to live independently in many ways and have the freedom to move and transact on such a large scale. I think it's a pretty lucky place.
And how about the return to, I would like to hear Ewok and Duke, your views on this, but like just the return to legitimate crypto stuff. Like you were talking about like the exhaustion of everybody being able to create their own token and stuff. And 2024 was all about Solana and Pump Fund and all that stuff. But now I think there is going to be, out of almost necessity, if people want this industry to be like used, a return to what's actually built on Ethereum that is useful, and EVM chains kind of on down. And I think you're kind of seeing that from Vitalik on down now, because, he just self-admitted, we talked about it on our show a couple of weeks ago, that layer twos have been a failure. And what was I thinking, basically, and how much they detract from Ethereum itself. And I think we're going to see a return to like that legitimate type of stuff. And I think people, when they have the resources, again, when crypto is back in the zeitgeist more so, they don't want an industry that is labeled as, pump and dump meme coins from the president on down. You know what I mean? And I think Vitalik, thank God, his viewpoint is back on point. And I just wonder, like, we need to see Ethereum have its day in the sun again, which will help a lot of other things like us, obviously, have our day in the sun. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Ethereum definitely has to increase its use, right? I mean, you have to give a reason to buy it. And the reason to buy it is because you need to transact on Ethereum. I still believe that people will ultimately seek out yield. And I still believe in Hex for that, because there are so many things out there where, yeah, you can get yield. If you want to provide liquidity, which, requires a semi big investment to make it worthwhile. Whereas Hex, with the price being where it's at and the fact that there is no middleman, I still believe in that product. And I think people will figure it out and find it, depending on how ProveX does. And hopefully the stigma from Richard goes away. It has to. The guy's been here for so long, and people, whether they like it or not, people aren't getting robbed. Just because the price is down doesn't mean he robbed anybody of anything. So, that once that stigma kind of goes away, and people figure out that he's still building, still, intertwined with the community, I think that will really help the whole thing. And again, I've always been a huge proponent of finding yield. People want that. I think people want it, and finding the safest way to do so. So, yep, it's just a time. It's a time thing. Unfortunately, we wait, and that's all we really can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no idea when the whole industry goes, but that doesn't mean businesses from crypto can't have grand moves or runs now. And as they decorrelate, like if you're paired more with USDC, yeah, you're going to miss the PulseChain climb, but anything in this low liquidity is going to outperform it, even if it's paired with USDC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a great opportunity to get started in the business mindset. So That's a positive. And if you look at creating your own token, like renting a retail spot or buying your own business on a retail front in your community, whether it's Dallas or Philadelphia, or renting a spot in New York. And, in the 2000s, I knew a guy that had a takeout pizza place on a busy street where in the major center by me, and they were paying $12,000 a month for rent because of the volume. And that street now, after COVID, is desolate.
Yeah.
So like loads of places have closed up and stuff. Well, there's nowhere near the traffic to generate anywhere near that money anymore. So we do need to do stuff to attract people into crypto. And I'm going to say the brainchilds of crypto don't know how to do that anymore. I think the people that are like the gamblers or the gold people that look for the first gold, they're all in. They all know about crypto. I've said this many times. We can say what we want. I'm going to say the majority of people I know don't own gold and don't own physical silver and don't own, paper silver, paper gold, none of the above, and they don't own crypto. And once crypto has a use case, they will be there. Otherwise, they're not going to get involved until they're forced into it. And that's kind of what email did. It forced everybody into it. All of a sudden, correspondence and keeping up, and Facebook made all the old timers. It started off with the kids, and then all the old timers took it over to share family stuff, right? Provides a service. Yeah. So I don't know where we're going to lie, but I think this is where innovation, and we start, instead of waiting for this thing to take off, I think it's time the entrepreneurs start going to work.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest message that a lot of people are realizing now, like, especially this time frame where it's like, okay, Q4 of 2025, I'll be rich. And then none of that happens.
And then what? And then sell? Yeah. And you're the first to get out, right? Like, that's not what I want. I want to generate income. Yeah. Like Ewok said, that's one of the reasons I like Hex is I've set it up. If Hex does okay, I got income coming from it. And that's what I want. I want to be able to go into my 80s and there's still money coming from my Hex stakes. And because it's size and volume, it's gonna, it provides enough liquidity to sell anything I have.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
But Dob doesn't provide enough liquidity. You know what I mean? But as a startup, that's what it is. So yeah, you need a little bit of both. Yeah, of something.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, but people are realizing now. I mean, if you miss that window, and now it's like, well, if I really care about this stuff, like, am I like now? If you're maintaining in crypto right now, you really appreciate this stuff and are really meant to be here, wanting to be here, and if you are, you're probably choosing to build at this point. I think, like you are, and that's what we need to be doing. Otherwise, what's the point? You sit on your hands and wait? Or like if you actually care about this, I think you're out, even just doing what we're doing now, just speaking publicly about it and sharing, viewpoints about it,
sharing ideas. That's a think tank, common mindset. These are all practice stuff that works. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he and I have had this conversation many a weeks. We're like, it's Wednesday night, time to stream. Man, don't feel like it. And I've said a couple times, the only way to stay consistent is to stay consistent. And someone's got to do it, unfortunately. And you start the show, and then you get into the groove. And but yeah, this it's been difficult, especially this part of the cycle. Everybody's kind of disappeared. Viewership is down. There's a lot of things. It's it's tough. So, yep, you got to do something, and I completely agree.
He used to watch 3 streams a day.
Yeah, at least
the morning crew. I used to love it, and that was when Kinetics and all these people are gone. Like they're sat, and I know the SEC had lots to do with it, but yeah, we do need to generate something that keeps it rolling, and I'm hoping Huda does the job, and I'm hoping people accept it as a opportunity, and we'll go from there. And
yep,
Yeah, and anytime somebody wants to learn how to do it or what to do, I'm open, and I'm open to see what else could go on, like how far. It's unlimited. Like, you just look at it from a media standpoint to do something like this. If you're immediately, like all these YouTubers, like I said before, they play someone else's music. They don't get any income, and a lot of these guys have 2-3 million views. You get them to perform a show on the stage, and guarantee, I don't even think those people cost more than $500. You get the community to raise the money and Huda, and pay for a show. Then I don't have to come up with the idea, but I don't, it's a trust thing. There's so much that needs to go around. So I think the idea is to build up the community first and build a strong base and see what we can do.
I think so too. Well, I mean, I know I speak for Ewok when I say, like, I mean, we appreciate you doing this and building this stuff in the background and help and support all of us. And yeah, I think there will be a day where, as this gradually grows and people come back to streaming, whether just because there's more attention in the space or there's incentive with something like this, we're just going to see it all grow. And yeah, I'm excited.
Likewise.
Is there anything else you want to ask me about? Like some of the things, like I do have some ideas with the bingo, but we're just working on some of the legalities with it. We plan on doing a stream with bingo running maybe, or, and then we can offer prizes, but there can't be absolutely no purchase, nothing to do, any idea of you have to own or hold or something. So there's a whole lot of limitations if you want to give a reward. But I'm looking at having like maybe, I don't know how often, but a bingo night, as I said, and maybe play music from, there's so much music content, that's been made and stuff like that. I could play music content, not just from PulseChain, but from all kinds of people. So if musicians that are looking for a platform to just be heard, at least they are going to get our audience from PulseChain over time to view them. And I'm hoping this will bring a cross of new money into, hey, I want to be a part of this ecosystem, and I can make money by streaming. I talked to a girl, she's got a small little show and she does gardening, she's got a degree in it, and I watched the show a bit and I thought, hey, this also could be a good guest and bring on and have a gardening like section, another channel. So look at what Huda is, like a multimedia channel. Like, so you're going to your TV and you got every channel in one location, and every radio station. So the radio stations, I can keep adding to it. Right now I've got just DJ Cryptomatic, but I could have other various DJs in there. So you want to just listen to music, like a crossword puzzle. I hope to update that regularly. How often at this point, I really don't know yet, but, trying to keep it as much fun and new as possible. And I know not that many people have seen it, so it's not like I need to update anything yet.
Right.
Yeah, you and I might have seen it 100 times kind of idea, but it doesn't mean anything. And yeah, and if you see things that, hey, this would maneuver better if we did this, yeah, let me know, because I'm into all input and seeing if I can tweak things to make it a happier place for people to hang out.
Awesome. I like what you just said too, like about the gardening and stuff like that. Opening people that wouldn't typically be into crypto or don't know a lot about it, having access to it by this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. By proxy.
Our audience, I'm helping them, and then I don't have to sell anything because I'm not trying to tell them to buy hexes. You know what I mean? Somebody could, but hey, if Huda is give you this, there's really no risk of going up or down. You're not buying it for that reason, and the tokens like Dob or the other pump tires, like they all have a proper purpose. So I think they're all pretty good places for people to look at.
Yeah.
And even just starting off with USDC, nothing wrong with that.
Right. It's easy to understand.
Yeah, it's real simple. That's why we chose it as the stable. I mean, we thought, oh, DAI is this, and it's like, well, you know what? We can just make another token if that, like, if Coinbase went bankrupt, no
Right.
problem, because the way it's structured, that's okay. You can't, and I think that's one of the great things about the way that tax token is designed.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, it's been a good time. I'm looking forward to see what other developments come out. So appreciate you.
I appreciate you guys so much for all your time and feedback. Because honestly, it's not easy to DM people and then and people are leery of clicking links and all. Like it's
Right.
there's a big trust issue, and so it should be. So yeah, and it was nice to have, like, you guys are accepting, and that's a good place to start when you're coming up with a crazy idea.
Yeah. It's a challenge in crypto because everybody's going to come at you with a speculative eye, which is good. I mean, it's good that we have that prejudice just in case, you know what I mean? But like I said, I saw you months back with Corey Geary, and we had a couple exchanges on Twitter and stuff like that, and I was looking forward to seeing what you had, so I know we both appreciate it.
Yep.
Thanks again, and I hope you guys have a good Valentine's weekend, and I'd like to meet up with you guys on a somewhat regular occurrence for sure, like a rotation of some sort, and get caught up, and maybe we can get more people on and do a type of a community stream maybe once a month on this channel, and maybe raise money for a cause or some sort. We could come up with something and see how it works.
Sure.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm down with that for sure.
Yeah. So think as much as you can, send me some, DMs, and let me know what you guys have in mind, or if you see somebody in the community you'd like to support somehow, and we can generate some Huda for it, or Dob, or whatever it might be. And please consider making a token for your show, and give it some soul searching, and realize that it doesn't have to be a token that goes up huge in value. You can just use it as a token that when people buy it and you're pairing it off and selling it, it can serve its purpose for you immediately.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Well, you gentlemen get yourself, since it's Valentine's Day, get a nice rom-com movie in you tonight. Make sure you watch some romance, and box of chocolates.
Will do.
Okay.
All right.
You guys
All right,
take care. Thanks again.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye, guys.